What, Neil?
Are we recording? What are we doing here?
Yeah, we're recording. We're recording for 12 seconds.
Oh, Jesus. Dead air, huh? Okay.
Dead air to start it out. Episode 67.
That's what we're about.
You guys need this channel,
Yeah.
this show here, this portion, this half of the channel.
Yep.
You guys need to figure out an intro.
I like our non-intro.
No, you need to be like
our hey you cool cats and kittens.
I like the audience guessing why the fuck they've tuned into this whole thing.
So you gotta give the people what they want. Yep.
If this podcast entered into a Warhammer Grand Tournament, it would be it would end up with a 2-3 record. We'll say that.
That's generous. That's generous.
It might fight the YouTube ringer. That's No, you need to go like classic. You gotta give people what they want.
I don't want to give anybody anything.
Yeah.
This show, in case you haven't, like, Matt, I really, like, the day you decide to take Big M's Power Hour to its own channel, you will double the amount of subscribers, I bet. I've never had the intention of making this channel for anything other than just talking to friends. If people enjoy it, that's great. I love you guys if you're enjoying it, but it's not my intention.
Anyone that discovers my channel would be like, why is Chuck's friend doing his own thing? That doesn't make any sense.
I mean, you could make a channel Strength Hammer's Friend, maybe? See if it takes off.
I'll just call it Chuck's friend.
Strength Friends.
Strength Friends. What's okay? It's
like the Super Friends.
Yeah. We could, ooh, what if we each did our own podcast? We just did a small section, but if you actually put them together, it was like Voltron became a giant robot, became a full podcast. Like, we have to script that whole thing out. That would be really hard, but we could do it.
You would be our Black Lion. You would have to put it all together.
Okay, let's go back to the other idea where we just watch Warhammer Weekly Live and react to it.
There we go. Yeah, better.
Warhammer Weekly Live.
Is this Black Falcon?
Actually, I forgot to ask Vince because I was supposed to ask him when we were down there. This is something you ask in person. I want to do a video where it's just take a Warhammer Weekly episode and edit out everything that's not Vince talking and just call it Warhammer Weekly, but it's just Vince. For
Hammer Weekly.
For 2 reasons. One,
Vince Hammer Weekly.
One, I think it'd be funny. 2, I want to see if you still get everything you need out of the show if it's just Vince talking. 100%. I'm throwing. Yeah, like Tom, Tyler, every guest ever. I love you guys, but I want to see if that's the truth.
I'm afraid to laugh at that. Otherwise, before you know it, I'm going to be off this podcast.
No, you'll be edited later off the podcast.
Oh, we found out that Neil actually adds nothing to this.
No, actually, we'll take Matt's idea from earlier. This will just be a silent movie because no one adds anything to this podcast. But we will. We'll do a little ASMR here. Ready for this, boys? Ready? Getting close.
Ooh, that's a good one. That was a really good one. Yeah. La Croix Pamplemousse.
My nice LaCroix orange. Because I grabbed the orange flavor, not the clementine flavor, so I can't say LaCroix Clementine, which is fun to say. Not orange.
Moving right along.
You just gotta floof up the pronunciation. That's all. It's the orange.
Louisville.
Well, let's get this podcast moving, gentlemen. What are we here to talk about?
We're here to talk about the greatest.
In your owl mug.
Oh yeah, your owl mug. What did you call it earlier, Neil? What's staring at everybody?
My Hooters.
What's in there? Booze?
No, just black tea. After this last weekend, it's just tea.
Scotch.
Yeah.
Well, I drove home after Matt. Well, after Matt and I drove 8.5 hours, I drove the extra hour and a half home because Pittsburgh traffic. I'd stop at Giant Eagle to grab some dinner. Pumpkin beer's out, boys. So I actually had more beer in the last 2 days than I did during the whole event. Well, no, actually, no, never mind. Because Friday we had quite a few. Scratch that.
I've had the same amount of alcohol, both at and currently.
Well, it's good today. That's why I got my LaCroix orange, and orange is the color of pumpkins. That counts, right?
Sure.
Yeah, sure. That's how it works.
All right, so we're here to talk about the greatest narrative duping that's ever happened in the history of Warhammer ever. A little bit of Nashcon,
Swerve is the word you're looking for.
a little bit of
To no
Nashcon.
avail,
Yeah.
but we won't do spoilers.
Well, unfortunately, I put my blog post out already, so spoilers. But yeah, Nashcon post show 2023. Let's start with let's do the we'll pull events general overview, 10,000 foot view.
Mm-hmm.
We'll get into details as we go. Matt,
Yes.
overall opinion of Nashcon this year. Now, this is your second Nashcon, correct?
Yes.
Okay, I want to caveat that just for people listening at home.
A plus.
Okay,
Yeah.
maybe like a 5,000 foot view. Let's get a little deeper, Matt.
Mm-hmm.
It was really good.
Okay. All right.
For me, it was a top 3 event that I've been to, in my opinion.
Yeah. It had some of the best tables I've ever seen. I would put it. Steve Herner's are the absolute pinnacle.
I feel like that's something that's so narrative that I would say for a match play tournament, it
Right.
was the best terrain.
Oh yeah. Actually, honestly, because the two and three events I was debating on trying to how to place it and put this in it were all narrative. So you're absolutely right. We should just, as far as competitive events, match play events,
Right.
this is the best tables out there.
If the tables got any more than what they are at Nashcon, it would be at the point where, again, you're now in Herner territory where it's part of the game.
Right.
Whereas now it's like you can appreciate the tables for what it is, but you can still get your game in.
Yeah, at most there's one piece of terrain that might be like slightly in the way. At most. And
Yeah,
even then it's just
as
like
it
whatever,
should.
it's just part of the board. You deal with it.
Yeah,
Right.
unless you're playing on that castle table, in which case, I thought I would do really well, but more on that later.
But yeah, best tables for a match play event, hands down. The awards were some of the best. I mean, I even told David when I was down there, I stole the idea for like the Terathi knives from the fact that he did swords, because I'm like, that's so cool, but I wasn't going to do swords for you fuckers. Because I'm not completely made of money.
Stuff for bars at one point, and I'm just like, I couldn't find anywhere to I don't even know where in the world they do those engravings. I couldn't find anybody to do that. So
Right.
And then whatever I could find was ridiculously expensive.
Yeah, for sure. But like, still, I mean, if it's in the budget, that's amazing. It was a smooth event. The TOs, David and Anthony, were super handsome. And I had great company the whole time down there from the local crew, which includes you guys, as well as the friends I haven't seen in a while.
Yeah.
So yep, definitely. top three.
I definitely do want to give a shout out to Dave and Anthony, you guys that just kill it every year. You make it look easy.
Yeah. That was the first Nashcon I've been to, and the only thing I saw them doing is just kind of walking around and appreciating tables. I mean, maybe at the higher tables I was not over there. There was other stuff going on, but it seemed like a pretty damn smooth event. And that's what they said at the end of the tournament too. So I'll take them at their word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the only I saw like one moment, I guess like around 5. I think I peeked up. I saw Anthony was hunched over his laptop doing something. I don't know if it was calculating results or maybe it was like something with like BCP was giving a little bit of an issue. And I saw Dave like patting him on the back, like it's gonna be okay. I'm like, I know exactly what they're going through, but I'm sure it's not that bad. I know they'll be fine. I don't know what it was, but I'm sure it was clearly fine.
Yeah, love to hear the tales from behind the scenes on all those kind of events, But
that's what
seemed pretty damn smooth from the outside looking in.
Well, if I am ever no longer employed by Games Workshop, I will do a tell-all 5-hour-long podcast. We'll get Tyler Emerson to be the host and be fun. But yes. So Nashcon. Where do you guys want to begin? Should we relay the tale of the contract? Should we
Yeah, let's
talk
kind of do a little review, little quick review.
quick review? Yeah.
Start at game 5 and work our way back.
Okay. Lead us off, Matt. We'll do that. I don't care.
I didn't win that game.
Matt, you're gonna have to go a little bit deeper on this stuff
Mhm.
if we're gonna get through this podcast. All right.
It was a real flaxen, man. It was not good.
You feeling okay, Matt? You gotta. I mean, we could pause if you gotta go take a shit. Like if you're trying to get this done quick, like we can pause for 10 minutes,
I
20
tell you
minutes.
what, let's give Matt some time to regroup. Let's
Okay.
start from the beginning,
All right. All
and
right.
let's do a little high level here.
Okay. All right, Neil, kick us off. Get us in the right direction.
All right, so we started off with the contract. In fact, we started off with this contract.
It's our little narrative fun.
Okay,
Yeah.
and this contract was developed as just kind of a little fun competition between us three, and it was something we were going to kind of fight over and see who gets to take it home. Nothing too serious, just some fun. But set up a little competition between us, which actually increased my enjoy of the event. I think it increased all of our enjoyment of the event
Oh,
because
yeah.
we knew we had a pretty good idea. I don't think Matt ever has a great idea of this, but Chuck and I had a pretty good idea that we were not going to do well at this tournament.
Right. And I do have the contract up on screen now in case you're tuning in.
Perfect. So the contract was so that we would all of us, all three of us, have Caradron overlords at this event and see how we placed with that army, even though all those armies would be a little bit different list to list. Even though some of those armies lists were developed by, the person who's talking right now, even for other people. But and so that's kind of the high level view of how that worked. But we came to Nashcon, and I believe you talked to Dave and let him know a little bit about what was going on when we got there with our bullshit.
Oh, he knew well before.
Okay.
He knew well before because I had to, because I couldn't have my list uploaded and you guys see it before the contract had been signed.
Well, you take it from here, Chuck, and let's
Okay.
give him
all right,
the Nashcon rundown.
All right, I'm so excited. Matt has to deal with this story being told one more time, and he is so fucking done with it. Which I don't know why, because he technically beat me. Well, technically, the best kind of right. So months ago when we started this, we decided I'll run KO, and we put this contract. I used ChatGPT and I readjusted it. It's a 1-page contract for Nashcon. Whoever won got the contract as an award. That was it. We all took KO. That was the plan. Shortly after that, I realized, especially after something Neil said to me on this podcast, that if he ever went to an event and played Chuck Moore and Chuck Moore didn't have Daughters of Cain, I'd feel cheated. And it definitely hit home a little bit, because it's like, yeah, that's the army I love, Daughters of Cain. It's everywhere. You see any KO stuff back here? No. Well, I mean, the KO army is right there on top. It's always nearby. See, like that's KO's the head down there. Daughters of Cain, that's the heart. That's how I have it. So started figuring out how can I take this, because I didn't want to back out on our little deal. Not that we had anything signed yet, and I'm sure, as our one friend said, that if I went to either of you and said, "Hey guys, I'd rather do this," you'd both be like, "Okay," but then we wouldn't have this thing to rely upon to engage with each other on for all these months. Thus began the journey of narrative storytelling, making gifts for you guys and your army, and putting hints in it that were very heavily Daughters of Cain hints. Now, I guess the thing is, as my favorite was the fact that since I do Daughters of Cain so much, the anytime Daughters of Cain comes out of my mouth or appears, you guys just don't bat an eye.
Mm-hmm.
So that helps. But yeah, let's see. It was all explained in the last podcast, everything that I did. But jump forward. I have the amendment in, which I'll put the amendment on the screen now. Essentially said, it was kind of like what was the Parks and Rec. Don't worry, I have a permit. I can do what I want. Essentially allowing me to nominate my character to nominate my Daughters Kane as the champions for this event, so they could play in the event. I could play Daughters Kane, but still participate in our little mini event here with this contract on the line. And yeah,
I remember walking into the game hall
Mhm.
for day one, and I'm looking around, and I see Chuck's board, and it's the same display board. And I'm like, okay, that was the big surprise that he's using his same display board.
Yep.
All right, whatever. But I'm an old man. I have poor vision, and so I still couldn't quite make out what was going on over there. And I walk over, and I'm like, wait a second, that is an entire army of Daughters of Cain sitting on this display board.
it was two
What
armies. I only
the
overlapped
hell
like 12
is
models.
And that was when it was explained to me. That's when the contract was brought out, and we reviewed the contract in depth, because both Matt and I were forced into signing this contract without reading it.
Well,
So
I want to pause you. Mostly just Matt was.
mostly just Matt.
Because
I had some shenanigans in the contract as well that I did not want Matt to read, and so we kind of bullied him into not reading the contract.
Physically forced me to not read the contract.
I mean,
But you could have stood a little bit more firm, but you chose not to.
You
So.
ripped the contract out of my hand and put it under glass.
no. I put my hand down on it so you didn't turn the page, so you signed it, and then I ripped it out of your hands. And I also have your footnote on the screen now too. And actually, if everyone checks, it should be released right before this podcast, a little travel vlog. But there's a video that Alex, who was on the podcast recently, recorded of us reading this. He didn't get Matt's reaction, but you could feel the like, I love you guys and go fuck yourself energy from Matt.
Yeah, right. The whole time I'm reading mine. Yeah. So when Matt and I were playing practice games, I think it's documented here on this podcast that I did build him a list. After we played a game, two of the games, I said, let me see what you got there. And we played with it a little bit. And jokingly, I wrote in his phone on the list, Neil's list. Just so that it would come up that way. Because if you know anything about the AOS app, once you name something or you put that army, the only way to get rid of it is just to delete the whole thing. You're not
Yeah, it's just
start over. It's in stone at that point.
Yeah.
So my part of the contract basically said, if Matt used any part of the list that I helped him to create, then any win that he got, or if in an event of any ties, then I get the victory.
Right. And like I said, also to seal the deal, there was some 3D printed coins gifted out. The last bit of shenanigans to cement the contract, because goods had been exchanged, so we were all solid and ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, with that in mind, with the best narrative ploy ever pulled off in the most Caradron way, to not play a Caradron army, even though it's technically Caradron from how this contract read. Let's talk about our games. Or unless Matt, you've been quiet. Do you have any feelings on this matter, or are you just really fucking tired of it? And
No, I just because I didn't know exactly what was going on doesn't mean I didn't know something was going on from about a month before your narrative event. Like,
yeah, sure, absolutely.
I could taste it in the water. It was.
I mean, here's the other thing too. You guys could have paid off. I think there's only one person I didn't actually inform, and that was our friend Dave, because I just hadn't had a chance to talk to him or like reach out to him on like a phone to tell him, because I can't tell him in the chat, obviously. But outside of that, pretty much everyone knew.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I have to say, it's. Not that it's ever been needed, but it's good to know that if I have a secret that needs to be kept, we have a Fort Knox-like friends group.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Now, here's the thing. I don't know if it's like because we're messing with each other. So if you need to keep something from any one of us, I think that's secure. Who knows otherwise?
Well, also it's probably pretty easy with our non-Age of Sigmar friends, because they don't even know what the fuck you're talking about. So.
Oh yeah. No. Well, actually, no. That's the thing, because I had our friend Teresa, who doesn't play Warhammer, 3D print those coins while she's 3D printing all of your terrain for your display board. And I told her, like, don't tell Matt. He cannot know about this going on. What she do? She hands it to me right in front of you. Thankfully, they were like in a bag or something. But I was just like, you can't trust them because they don't understand the level of seriousness that this duplicity was entailing.
Right.
Thankfully, I was able to think on my feet, and thankfully, Matt's a trusting individual until now.
Wait, no. It's just a malaise of unexpected of no of expected. I don't know what kind of verb to use, but yeah, basically just okay. Chuck's gonna chuck, and I'm just gonna figure it out later. That's
I like that. Take that. All right. Well, with everything revealed, we go into game one. This is where things start to go poorly for me. I apparently had my biggest win of the event right before it began.
Right?
and
Yeah.
and then I was fighting for my life the rest of the time.
I don't know. I don't know how you beat Alex. And then yeah.
Oh,
Go ahead.
he played a different list, so I beat Alex because it was like I think it was the first or second time he was running that list, and also he was doing below average on his rolls to bring stuff back, so it was easy to dominate the board. After that game he switched to the sub faction that gave you rerolls on the gets bring stuff back roll, which seems to help him a lot. But game one, I'll start. Okay, I just looked at Matt and I'm just like, I don't know if he's gonna even talk about it. So this was not my book in front of me. This was geometric pulse. Nice easy start to the weekend. I went against a gentleman named Koi Baron. He has ogre Motroids, some stone horns, some iron blasters. This was, to me, like I couldn't ask for a better start to a weekend of gaming with a game like this, where we literally went down to the bottom of 5 to determine the winner. And this is going to be a theme for me, surprisingly. I guess some spoilers, but I think I lost it by 1 or 2 points in the end. And this, it was just like just one drop battle tactic did it for me. I can't remember which one it was, but magical dominance. I went to go cast a spell, and I failed. And I had one spell out of range, and I failed. But that's how it goes. But there is one key moment after that failure to cast my Bloodwrack Medusa, because I was taking a snake list. Not a Marathian bow snakes. I have no Marathi, but 2 lists. The Xanthar Kai list, which we reviewed those last time, so go check out the last show. But my Bloodwrack Medusa managed to stare down 2 Iron Blaster cannon shots. 2 different Iron Blasters shot the cannon at her, and she just saved them.
Wow.
Like I mean, he missed one, but she just saved him like a champ. And after that, I was just like, fuck it, charging in with her. Unleashed Hell. Saved them both. And she's just like, no, fuck you guys. I was like, like, even my opponent, Koi, he was just like, that's pretty cool. That's pretty awesome. Like, she's just catching cannonballs, putting them down. Like, nope. Yeah, solid game. Great way to start. Matt, that give you enough idea of how we want to do this here, or are you gonna just win or lose?
so my first game was against Nurgle, and which is an interesting matchup for KO, just because if they have enough durability, because it's like their durability's up there, but it's not necessarily to the point where they can hold back KO. But at the same time, we have to worry about disease points very badly. Now, the game really didn't last too long. Basically, because I was just an idiot in my game. I was like, okay, well, if I can take out his heroes, then the army will crumble. He had 3 units of the flies of the Blight Lords, Blight Kings, Blight Lords.
Osco Blight Lords, yeah.
Yeah, so the Blight Lords, and then Orgots, Bloab, and Harbinger.
It's a pretty hefty list of Nurgle,
Yeah.
I have to say. That's
Yeah,
no joke.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's not fun easy.
So the problem was I kind of so I went in to try and clear that out, and I did a pretty good job of clearing out his screen. But the issue was I shot everything I had into Blowab, and Blowab survived. And then on his turn, Blowab recovered basically all the damage I dealt, and then so it was all like in the middle. So the rest of his stuff just came in and went, and those are all dead.
Yeah, with geometric pulse too. Once you claim the middle, you're kind of set to probably take the game if you can hold that middle.
I mean, if I was going to redo it, I would probably just start in the one corner and just try and get as much of like a file, like do like a you die, you die, you die sort of thing.
Yeah,
that I probably could have. That would have worked a little bit better as opposed to just him just able to fall in on me and again, I said that was my tactical error on that one. Again, the common thread between all of these are all my opponents were top-notch people. Every single one of them were great. Win or lose, we always sat down and like had a conversation afterwards, regardless of whether it was about the game or about GW in general or whatever. So could not have gotten luckier with the people I played against.
Yep. Second that.
Yeah. My first game, I played Beast Claw, and this is one of my two favorite games. My two favorite games were bookended. So my first one and my fifth one, and that is because I think if you remember the show, you asked me, what do you want out of Nashcon, right? And I said I want to go see Nashville. I said I want a game that goes to turn 5 and feels significant, and with KO that would be like half a miracle, right? Because either you win big or you lose big, and there was plenty of that going on. I think with both me and Matt throughout the tournament. But this game was, without getting too in depth into it, he was running the 3 Stonehorn list with the 3 units of Mornfang Cavalry, two-man units of Mornfang. So pretty beefy. I looked at it and I'm like, I don't know where to even start here. My first battle tactic that I always try to get in every game is just to shoot something off for a free 2 points. I'm like, how do I do that against Beast Claw? But luckily enough, those Mornfang kind of die pretty quick to some shooting. They're not all that thick. So I did go first. I hit him with a bunch of Navigator damage on turn 1, which was great. And so I centered all that damage at his stuff in the middle. And then I flew over to the right-hand side of the table and shot off a unit of Mornfang. He went second. And that was the Pulse, was the side that I went to. And he did not charge me. He wasn't able to shoot me. His turn 1 was essentially nothing. And against Beast Claw, I was feeling pretty good about that.
Yep.
So now the question is like, who's going to win this second turn, right? We're gonna roll this dice, and we're not going to get double turned here, kids. It's all going to work out great. But no. He got the double turn. so those Stonehorns came rumbling in. I did move my frigate that was farthest back. I kind of pulled that back and towed it off. For some reason, I was thinking frigates score is 5. They don't. Actually, it wasn't score as 5. I thought everything in the boat scored the objective, but they have to be out of the boat to score the objective. So I refreshed my memory on that and found out that was a whoopsie daisy. So I don't even know that what was in there might have got to 10, maybe, to beat a Stonehorn anyway. So he winds up getting the Pulse and the other objective. But I get to hit back after that, and I smoke one of his Stonehorns. I get off my whole combination that I wanted to get off, which was I hit one of his Stonehorns in that next turn with the grenade, take his ward save off. Here we go, baby. Bomb us time, right? We're gonna bomb this son of a bitch Stonehorn right off the place. Yep. One more wound. And so Bomblets and I are having a falling out. But more to come on that throughout the tournament. So it was a lot of back and forth in this game. And at any time, if I would have won a roll off, I maybe go on to win that game. Unfortunately, that never happened. So it was still competitive right up until about the fifth battle round. And once we got into the fifth, it was pretty well determined that he was going to win. And we got to about 5 minutes left. 5 minutes left on a game of Beastclaw Raiders and
KO.
a couple boats pushing around on the table. Like there was no reason for it, but it was a pretty competitive game with some back and forth stuff. So we were being very careful about everything we were doing. And so he goes on to win that game one against me.
Nice.
Pretty handily at the end, based on the scoring that they did, regardless of how close it was. They had a scoring system set up. So even though it felt closer, I think my game was like 15-23 or something like that. The scoring on the actual game was more something like 29-8.
Oh, sure. Yeah. I mean, same thing for me. Like I'm gonna be very close in a lot of my games, but it's just how they do the differential. It's fun.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so nice that we all start out with a loss. So we all get put down into the bottom table areas where we want to be, and then we're all just we're all ready to go
we're all
now.
to play each other at this point.
Yeah. I think every round we're just like, yeah, I'm playing you. I'm so playing you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Well, my game 2 played gentleman Ryan Hill, and I definitely will give a shout out to him because after this game, like we hugged after this game. He's like, dude, this is one of the best games I've ever had. And at the end of the event, he came and hugged me again and said that he voted me for favorite opponent, which is always just, I'm always just blown away if anyone wants to vote for me on that because I try my best to be positive and happy, but like, it's hard when you're getting your butt kicked. But it was a fun game. He had Skaven, all the shooting Skaven in the world except for the warp fire throwers. But the cool thing, his whole army was themed Bretonnians. Like he took like the rat arms off and put goblin like bows and stuff like for like peasants. And I was just like, that's an interesting theme. What's like the full narrative of it? And he said literally it's just Skaven who are too dumb to realize that Bretonnian's gone. And I was like, boom, I love it. Simple to the point. His Thankful was actually a Green Knight like conversion. It was pretty well done. But this game is going to be the only one that I didn't really go to turn 5. Anyway, we played it all the way through turn 5, but I was tabled by top of 3. Or maybe bottom of 3? Yeah, no. Bottom of 3. Bottom 3, I was tabled. That's just how it goes whenever you... I took my Drachy Ganethlis, all the bodies, Thanquils, 4 Warpfire throwers, just getting close enough, just decimated my units, and then he had Geminids and was turning off my ability to do command abilities, and it was just like, oh, just losing things left and right, but still,
yeah,
it was good.
I was struggling with that in my game against Nurgle with what's the Harbinger shutting off command ability.
Yeah,
do you have the artifact or whatever command trait, overpowering stench? Yeah. But he's got to be like. That's a wholly within situation, but we'll talk about that after.
Yeah, sure. No, but I started the game off max points. He only got 1 point. We were in Spring the Trap, sorry, and neither one of us decided to remove any models. But yeah, I crushed the first top of 1. I took it, decided to be aggressive, got 5 points. He got 1. Next round, we both maxed. And then, like I said, 3, I actually got my tactic, but I didn't have any objectives because he had shot off everything from the objectives. And then after that, I scored nothing. And he continued. He maxed 1, and then he missed his last secondary just because he didn't have any he could score. But like I said, it was fairly close until like that. Like I said, if I had another objective, could kept a little closer. If I had any bodies left, I could kept pushing. But it was a great game. We had a fun time. We were laughing and cheering. His dice, like, he's Skaven, so his dice were like cheese shaped. So he's like cheese and like had a cheese symbol on the 6. It was a good time. I had some. I'm trying to think. For some reason in this game, like I'm remembering, like I had a lot of like really long bomb charges. I was just like, oh, what's that? That's an 11. Well, I have a +1. Let's see what happens. And I roll a 12. I'm like, hell yeah! Like it just a lot of those. A lot like to get in and gutter runners, 2 units of those, two units of 5 of those, just stared at one of my cauldrons and just said fuck off, and it did. Like right to 0 wounds. And I was like, oh my god. So great game. It's the only one where I wasn't able to take it all the way to turn 5, but Absolutely loved it, but took a loss. So 0-2 for me.
For me, my second match was against KO.
Oh, well, you're well
Um,
practiced at this. I think you have the most KO and KO matches out of all of us.
Yes.
Was this the gentleman who may have got the wooden spoon or no?
Yes, yes. So, as wonderful as wonderful as a gentleman as he was, he certainly did not help my strength of schedule score. So he brought a all melee list with 2 frigates, very similar to the one that I was originally planning on bringing as my second list. Um,
And he had a gun hauler too, right?
yeah, and 1 gun hauler.
Pretty close to my list.
It Yeah, once I got to my shooting phase, it really wasn't that much of a there wasn't too much back and forth on that one. Things just started tearing apart, and they didn't quite stop. I did get the double. So after like because he went first, came into me. I blew up both ships. I think I blew up both ships.
There was a
Wow.
snap with his with him coming in and thinking that Unleash Hell would not hit what it hit, right?
Oh yeah,
Mm.
yeah. He was unaware that he thought Unleash Hell was only for units that were within 3 inches of where the charging unit ended their movement, and didn't realize it was 6 inches.
Which is odd because it was 12 for the longest time.
Right, right. So that was yeah, it wasn't the
Or was it
best.
9? Whatever. But yeah.
It wasn't the best. It wasn't the best for him. And then I was able to do basically all of like the little KO tricks, like disengage and be able to still shoot. And um, I was able to kill enough in order to get my frigate free, so that I was able to fly high and capture an objective. So I was simultaneously taking things off the board left and right, and I was able to outmaneuver and capture objectives. So that game did not last very long.
Well, I mean, hey, you have to shoot first, right?
Right.
Yeah.
That's
Okay, how you win a
that's how
KO
it goes.
KO.
Right, right.
That's how it goes at the KO party.
Yeah.
My game 2 was against Nick Prolinsky, I want to say his name is. This was in all my years of playing Warhammer, and you guys have witnessed a couple of these. I've never played so badly in my recent recognition of my bad games. It's as if I forgot how to play Warhammer. I got extra excited when I saw people, if they know about it, if I see something that I might get excited about, my brain just goes full shutdown mode, and my ADHD just centers right in on that thing, and nothing else tends to matter after that. So it was a Death Army. It was a Soulblight army.
Mm-hmm.
He had the Vampire Lord with the ethereal amulet. Which, by the way, GW, if you're going to do an ethereal amulet or something like that, just put it on a guy 9 wounds or less.
Yeah.
You know, if he's supposed to have like this ethereal cape or some shit, like don't make an entire dragon turn. Like
Yep.
I just hate that. I've always hated it. I hated it when I played Soulblight. I still did it, but I hated it while I did it. Okay, so yeah, so those kind of like overpowering artifacts, put them on the little guys. All right, keep them alive. But anyway, so then he also had Neferata, who can also go ethereal. I got to find out what Black Knights can do in this edition, which turns out they're a mortal wound bomb. Didn't get to see too much. He had 2 units of Blood Knights. He had a unit of 20 zombies and a unit of 10 dogs. And where I got excited was he actually took turn 1 and he moved up and he put his dogs right in front of me. And I thought to myself, oh my God, I played my alternate list that had 4 gun haulers and an ironclad and a bunch of melee guys in an ironclad that I put the last word on instead of having the battering ram. So Also dumb. So we learned something there too. That alternate list was terrible. So that was the only time we'll see this that alternate list the entire tournament. So I thought, okay, I'm going to take these gun haulers. I'm going to drop some bombs. Woohoo! You very rarely actually get to drop some bombs on things, right? So I'm going to go drop my bombs, and I did that. And then after I was done, I flew the ironclad high over to a corner where there's another objective where he had some blood knights on it. But very smartly, he had the blood knights right at the edge of the objective, and I had to come out, or he had it pretty well into the objective where I had to come in 9 inches away from him and outside of the objective marker. No problem. I'm going to charge him. Okay, but I took the battle tactic where I got to shoot something off.
Oh no!
So I just dropped a bunch of bombs on some dogs. Now I got to choose. One thing's got to go, but they both kind of have to go. I can't leave the blood knights there. They got to die, right? So boom, boom, boom. I shoot all the dogs off, but I'm out because I drop bombs and then have to come outside of 3 inches of them. I'm not in range of that objective. Then boom, boom, boom. I shoot off all the blood knights, but now I'm not in range of that objective either. So I scored 2 points in my first turn. Not a problem. Okay. That was a disaster. All right. That was some real idiocy. We're going to win this roll off. Roll 6. Perfect. Look over.
6.
6. Of course it is. Son of a bitch. And so then he takes it. He marches up the rest of his shit, and the game is essentially over at that point. I got 1 turn. I shot a bunch of stuff off again. I got rid of all of his black knights. I got rid of the second unit of blood knights, and then I went in on Neferata. Didn't do enough. If I had the battering ram, would have done enough to kill Neferata, and then it could have been a game if I got the double turn there, which I again did not. So that ended up being a full-on slaughter that was done at the start of the 3rd round. It was pretty much done. So
Gotcha. I mean, hey, Matt at this point in the day is feeling good. He's beaten both of us.
He's 1-1. Yep. I'm
on
0-2.
I'm also 0-2 after a hard loss, but we roll right on into game 3. I walk up, I jump in Jesse Bullock. I didn't write it down well enough. But he also had a shirt that said "Tuft Crowd."
Yeah.
Also get some feedback from you, Neil.
Yeah.
I can hear myself. You might want to turn it down a little bit.
Sure. Try it out.
All right. How's that? Yeah, there we go. It's a little more. But I think they were friends with the tough crowd who was there because they kept coming over. But Slaves of Darkness, I pull out the snake list again. So I'm like, try and shoot off as much as I can. Now, thankfully, what I love about this, I love armies where I shoot stuff and it dies and they don't come back. I am so tired of here's more Skaven coming back because I can. Here's stuff summoned in because I can. Honest to goodness, just walk up, I shoot it, it dies, it doesn't come back. It's a great feeling. He had some knights, some chosen. It was wasn't like a super fancy list, but it was a solid list. It was good, and had his mark. Him and I got along great. I knew it was gonna be a good game because his grand strategy was to turn into a demon prince, which means rolling 11 or 12 on your chances. So it's he's clearly there for the same reason, just for fun, having a good time. Now, what I'll say is, I think it was turn 2, he actually got it, and we were both high five, and it was awesome. And then that demon prince did not much else the rest of the games, but he got it. We're all excited,
as they do.
Yeah, but we're on power flux, so you get to A or B, the alternating of the 4 objectives will activate. First round we did the one in our deployment zones. After that, it was always the center every single time. But he had a lot of nice Antdorian locuses, and I only had 1. And there's extra scoring potential for killing them or having one on an objective. So that really helped me a lot to just kind of keep ahead, because he was usually outscoring the objectives on me. But I was just killing his Anthorian locuses, keeping mine on it, just keeping it tight, doing really good. When we get to the bottom of 5, actually top of 5, I drop because there's not much left by the time we reach the end of this game, and we're pretty dead even. Like we're either even or I'm up a few or he's up a few. Like we're just doing that back and forth, and I only have one tactic left, which is reprisal, which is kill the unit that just killed my general earlier in the game. Unfortunately, it was a unit of like 15 chosen, so it was a monumental effort. I had enough to throw in, but I had to get real line rolls and him get not really lucky. Unfortunately, he survived. Dropped that tactic. He was able to get his tactic. And I do want to give a shout out too that this was one of the potential for one of my favorite games of the whole weekend, because not only were we having a good time, but like one of his buddies from the Tough Crowd, Mike Maccabee, if I'm not sure which way to pronounce that, but like I'd never met Mike, but he kept walking by. He clearly knew him, and I think he was helping Jesse out a little bit because Jesse was like, I think this was his first major tournament, so just like minor things. He wasn't telling him how to play. He was just like, hey, don't forget you have that. And I was like, that's all good with me. That's fine. Like, let's have a good time. But every time Mike walked up to the table, my rolls turned to ones, like just once. It was like even Jesse was looking at like, what the hell's like? I'd be like, Mike, you need to go away. Like I introduced myself like, hi. And I remember one time, it's like I think it was like turn. Oh, it was actually when I was trying to kill the chosen. I had like all the dice in my hand. I was about to roll it, and I saw Mike like just near the table, and I just stopped. I just started staring at Mike, and then Jesse looked over, and my opponent just saw him, and then Mike turned around like with a beer in his hand because he'd finished his game. He's a tough crowd guy. He crushed his opponent, and turned around. And he's like just all scared because he realized what was going on. He's like, and he just walked away so I could roll my dice and at least roll average. But it was good. But yes, dropped my tactic, and Jesse was able to get his in the end. And normally this is where I'd say if he followed the trend. And I lost by a few points. But I didn't. This is the first time I've had a draw in Sigmar in like years. Like we went down with like, okay, points draw. We double checked it. And actually Mike came over and like double checked and counting, make sure like we're all tired. It's game 3. We're done. Nope, we did that right. All right, how many tactics did we each get? 4. Like I forget who mentioned it. Someone's just like, I was like, okay, well, who has a bigger pecker? I'm like, I guess is that the final tiebreaker? I don't know. But yeah, ended in just a straight draw. So I am 0-2-1. So the dream is alive, barely. It's got a little, heart's fluttering a little bit, but there's a pulse. There's a pulse.
So for my game 3, I'm unsure how to feel. Because I'm sitting there, I'm like, hey, I got to win, so that feels good, but that means I'm going to be fighting someone else who was capable of winning a game, and I don't know if I can beat someone like that.
Spit my drink out.
So I sit down, and this was probably my favorite game of the weekend here. He brought 3 Maw Crushers.
One was Gordrak, I think you said, right?
Yes, yeah. There was one that was Gordrak. The second I saw 3 Maw Crushers, I was like, okay, not winning this game, so maybe next one. But I still, I didn't. He and I we had the exact same sense of humor. We had the exact we synced up, man. We were. It was probably only about a 20-minute game, but we actually sat around and we'd make like one dice roll and then just BS for 15 minutes.
Oh, there's a game we gotta play. Damn it!
I actually
exactly. I was like,
after my game was finished, and I was thoroughly enjoying watching you two play. It was you guys look like you were having a blast.
This was probably the only game where my dice just decided to stop. This whole weekend, my dice were right where they were supposed to be, pretty much right down the line. I didn't have any major sweeps one way or the other. It was all just Up, I should be getting 4. Up, I got 4. Or up, I got 5. Up, I got 3. You know, like that. There was no like, up, got all 9. You know, it's nothing like that ever happened. Or I didn't get any. But I took out. I went first. So his list was essentially 3-man blocks of Gorgruntas and 3 Maw Crushers, and of course a little War Chanter. To buff the damage of Gordrak, because that's what he needs.
More damage.
So I kill a whole unit of Gorgruntas, and I kill a whole Maw Crusher turn 1. And I'm like, well, third of his army. I was like, it basically boils down to, can I survive his turn? And so, short answer, no. He blows up the frigate. He almost kills the Endrin Riggers inside of it. However, there was just enough to put a lot of damage on the next Maw Crusher, the next non-named Maw Crusher. So he gets the double, which, heaven forbid.
I hear you, brother. I hear you.
So he's able to, I forget how, because he was able to kill all of the Endrin, or no, the Endrin Riggers ran away. He did enough damage to kill the Endrin Riggers, and I didn't have any more command points. So the rest of the command, they all ran away, leaving him completely free, but with only like 4 wounds left. Maybe a little more than that. I forget exactly. But so he was telling me that he plays against someone that plays KO back in his local club, and he's like, one thing he's learned is you got to eat a couple unleashed hells in a game like this, and that's all there is to it. Charges the Maw Crusher into the Ironclad. I unleash hell with my 15-man block of Thunderers. I do almost no damage. And then I use the last word, and I do no damage. And then I use Supremacy Mines, and I do no damage.
Was it he was just saving really well, or was it
No.
like you just
No,
weren't
I literally
doing
did
it?
nothing.
Okay.
I just did
You were
nothing.
doing that.
It was-
Okay.
Supremacy mine is like you roll a dice, and as long as it's not a 1,
Right.
Yeah.
Or-
yeah. Just,
Yeah, Supremacy Mines are you roll a die, and on a 2+ you do a number of mortal wounds equal to what you roll.
right.
So hello 1. So he basically was able to have his he was able to have the first Maw Crusher come in, and then got Gordrak in with no problem. They were able to kill the Ironclad and then kill all the Thunderers in one combat
yeah.
before I was able to do
Just take
anything,
them all out.
leaving me with just my Admiral and Endrin Master on the table, flapping in the wind.
Hey, those are your combat characters. Don't be hating.
Well, that's great whenever you roll nothing but 1s on those attacks as well. That's...
Yeah.
So, again, there was really only about 20 minutes of actual gameplay, but our round lasted almost like an hour and a half. So, again, but like, it's kind of like the first list, like against Nurgle, it's like, except for take peak defense and move it over to peak melee damage. So it's like I'm peak melee shooting, he's peak melee damage. It's not going to be a long match.
Yeah, unless you can somehow stay away, which the board's not big enough.
Right, and then at that point, I mean, you can't stay away from Iron Jaws at this point.
Yeah, they're fast.
He was able to double Mighty Destroyers somehow. I forget how,
I
but
think Gordrak lets you use the same one again or something.
Yeah, I think that's
I think it's a Gordrak thing.
yeah, it's rough. It was rough. Like there's nowhere to run, nowhere to hide, unless I could sky high as a reaction. Which hey, you guys aren't going to release the second half of this army in 4th edition. Let's put that in.
Hey, actually, here's how you survive that, Matt. You sky high, then you spend the next 3 hours deciding where to put it down. Oh, sorry, game's over. We're out of time. My boat flew away.
So you can do that on your first turn.
Yeah.
Right.
Too bad you didn't have a chess clock here. I would have solved the problem. But no, it was, like I said, it was an amazing match. I absolutely loved it, and if he goes to Nashcon again, I hope I fight him again.
My game 3. So when you're 0-2, you I think I was the second to the very last table. So I'm at almost the bottom table. We're right where I live. But the problem with KO is if you play somebody who does not have, a decent list, a optimized list, they're going to be in some trouble, man. They're going to be in some trouble. So, but I was playing a guy named Jason Galvis. He had got the wooden spoon the year prior. So
you guys get the you guys got the easy strength.
Matt and I do pretty well at certain points during
I'm going
this.
through tough crowd people,
and he was he was a hell of a guy. He was a lot of fun to play, and even this was a game for me. Whereas my last game, I had the worst game I think I've ever played. This one was right up there with me. I rebounded pretty good, and not only did I rebound, but my dice decided to spike. And when I say spike, I mean he's looking over there at the other table. He's like, and he's just saying, "Wow, wow, wow." I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't know. And so, he took turn 1. Now he's playing Sylvaneth, and I had played Sylvaneth against John DeCoulis a few times, kind of prepping for the bet and playing with KO against Sylvaneth. So at this point, I've got a pretty good idea of what's going to happen to me in the first turn against Sylvaneth. Something big is going to come, punch me in the dick, and then run away. And it's going to be super frustrating. And I'm probably going to lose a very important part of my army while it happens. So I set myself up to understand that and kind of just, all right, let's let it happen, and we'll position stuff to go get him, and hopefully we get a double turn after I lose whatever one of my frigates I lose. So Durthu comes in, and he does the Sylvaneth thing where he jumps in. He takes a good crack at my gun hauler prior to with some shooting, and then Durthu comes in, swings his big sword.
Yep.
Now, if you know anything about Durthu,
he's the dick kicker.
He's 6 damage per attack, right?
Mm-hmm.
This poor bastard, man, and I love him. I don't mean to call him a bastard. He's a great guy, but I felt so bad. He just, bam, I think it was like 6 attacks, some shit like that, and it was like 3 ones on the first roll, and for the hits, I'm like, okay, we're down to 3 here. Granted, that's still 18 possible damage that can come through, and may come through. And when you know it, he missed another one of those on the wounds, and I think he was at like 2s and 3s. So he gets 2 through at Ren 2 or 3, and I all out defensed my boat. He's going against my boat, and I 5/6 the armor save, and that was. It was a complete bink, tinked right off of it. And then he ran home with his tail between his legs, got the hell out of there. But his fate was written when he ran away, because those KO were coming straight at him, straight for him.
It's like, oh no, you get
so
back
I flew
here,
over top. We played with the 2 objectives in our deployment zones, and they pretty much stayed there the entire time. They never flipped. I flew in on my first turn, everything being alive. And I got close enough with my 1 ship. I'm like, let's just let some bomb. Let's go. I do 9 wounds against his dryads. And I finally get a 1 on the 10th roll, but it's super cocked. But I'm like, I'm just taking it, because right now I'm feeling kind of bad, right? I'm spiking everything. So I'm like, I'm just calling it a 1. That's it. And so wiped out his dryads, wiped out a unit of 3 scythes, took out Durthu, took out Drycha. He's got a unit of revenants after my turn 1. He's got a unit of I think he's got 6 scythes hanging out somewhere, and like 2 heroes. That's all that's left of his army.
Sounds like he did so much damage that his Alarial that he left at home just suddenly broke for no reason. He got home. It's like, what the fuck?
Just fell off the top.
Just fell off. He's like, oh. Felt
So I mean, it was bad, and so I think this is another one where if I get the double turn, it's ball game right
Mhm.
there. But he wins the turn. He jumps his. I left one little navigator back at my objective, so he jumped the unit of 6 sides back and took out a navigator with 6 sides.
okay.
So he did score those points, but again, even if he went against a boat and took out a boat or something like that, they were going to die in return. It wasn't going to work out, and I think he knew that, and so he was just like, "Yeah, well, I'm going to go in there. I'm going to try and score as many points as I possibly can, and move on with this game." And so after he killed my navigator, I basically brought the rest of my army to bear against just he fails a charge with the revenants by the way. So they get shot. I can bring my entire army against 6 sides, and that's the ball game. That's it. We're shaking hands after that. It was a slaughter, and I felt super bad about it. The 2 games that I played to game 5, I felt great about. Even the ones that I lost, and even the one that I won, which we'll talk about later. But I never feel good, especially with KO, when you come in and you just dick kick somebody. It's just not a nice feeling for you or for them. So but 1 and 2.
Yeah, so we all got through the first day, not completely lost all 3 games. So we're not in a bad situation. Before we go into the next day, I guess we should talk about like our little after gaming activities that we had. We forgot to mention for the first night in before the game began, a bunch of us went out to Broadway to see the live music and drink lots of overly priced light beer.
$9 Miller Lights, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Whew. $15 whiskey on the rocks.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
But thankfully that helped keep us in check, so we didn't overdrink. So it was pretty nice.
Mhm.
But that was a crazy wild scene. It was loud. It was fun. Couldn't handle it more than one night.
No.
And I guess the biggest shout out is this Saturday night after these 3 games. We hung out with Vince. He bought some pizza. It was a very chill, relaxed atmosphere. Just have a nice conversation, talk about our games, just having fun, shooting the shit with a small group of people. So as we advance in age, I think we all appreciate those types of evenings just as much as the wild fun, let's go have a few drink ones.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah, it's always good catching up with Vince, and if I don't think he watches us, but
Josh.
if he does, thank you, Vince. I really appreciate it.
Yeah,
Yes,
thank you
thank
very
you,
much.
Vince. Yes, it made for a great time, and it was nice get to hang out with that Josh too. That we met down there.
Yeah, first time I've ever hung out with the other of them, so that was
Mhm.
that was nice, a lot of fun.
Yeah, Josh was great.
Then all right, moving on. Sunday morning. We all
Oh,
know what's on.
can I little interlude
Oh,
here?
please, please.
For those of you hardcore Strength Hammer fans who are here for us every week and who love to follow my course of victories in a tournament, I am 1 and 2 now, and so is Matt. So moving into day 2, we're taking a look at the placings, and I'm like, it is the exact same thing as Brewhammer, baby. We are like right there. Either we're gonna play each other, or we're gonna play the other person that's next to us. And last time it was him and I playing, so I'm like, oh Christ, I'm gonna get Matt, and his list is much better than mine.
Oh, man. Oh, if sweet
So,
Jesus
which it
had only
was.
given me that.
If you would have got me, you would have got the W for sure. But I dodged him,
Yep.
but didn't dodge too well.
It's fine. I actually,
We'll go to game or day 2 now.
to be fair, I'm sitting there with day 2 going like, okay, you guys have you guys have the good chance of fighting each other, knocking each other out. Whereas I'm going to be right below you guys the whole time with this draw, which means hopefully if I crush my Sunday, I can leave you guys. Like I just know I'm like boom, I'm in a good spot as long as I can do it. It didn't do it, but yeah, let's go into game 4. So I rock up, and this is like one of those like Matt you had in your last game. You just connect with somebody. Guy named Ben Smith. One found out he works in accounting at the Memphis HQ for GW. So I'm like, okay, so we're kind of coworkers.
The Warhammer HQ.
Warhammer HQ. He's also into fighting games. He has Lumineth, and he's like, sweet elf on elf battle. Let's do this. Like we're in sync. It's a good like 20-minute conversation before we're like, oh, we should play this game. And actually, this is like the one game where I'm like, I really like the 2-list format because he had 2 lists: a 1-drop that had Suffocating Gravetide, or a 4-drop that was like the Cow and just normal like Lumineth endless spells, but a little bit more magic heavy. And we're in Every Step is Forward. And I was sitting there going, if I go with my Dragey Ganeth list and take all the bodies, and he brings out Suffocating Gravetide, it's just my game 2 all over again. I just remove handfuls of model and it's over. We're going back and forth and looking at the list, and I said, okay, you know what? Since every step is forward, if you charge, you count as extra on objectives. So odd deployment zone for the objectives. I'm like, look, I'm going to risk it, and I decided to go with the Witch Elf list. Thankfully, he chose the opposite list. He didn't bring the Suffocating Gravetide. I'm like, hallelujah, there's a chance. But he did have tech lists. He had a Cow and all that fun stuff. So we deploy, and I just go in hard and fast. What I plan. I mean, I let him go first because I outdropped him, and he just kind of repositioned it. And I'm like, yeah, I just charged and ran in, blocked up some lanes. I figured what I do is if I could hold the center, because he was nowhere near the bottom left, and I can get that. I could hold that objective no problem. And if I could get up and around through and have enough bodies to just overtake him, it would be good. And I almost did it. I almost took out. I took out both units of Sentinels, I think, except for maybe like a few models, which is like my downfall. But I almost took out most of his core before like Eltharion and all like the stuff that could just crush me came through. I did get a little lucky because the impassable terrain was in the center, and it was just small enough that Avalanor couldn't fit through. So Avalanor came up, and I was using my Cauldron to block that lane just in case, and Witch Elves are just around it. But on the opposite side, I was like, I'll sacrifice the Cauldron. Avalanor came through and like went back and forth, but he obviously took it out after a few rounds, and then he realized he's like, oh, I'm stuck here. And I looked, I'm like, oh damn, like you can't fit through there. Like it was too tight. But it was not tight enough that you could see it easily until you actually put the model there. So I'm like, okay, this is good for me. It kept the game close and tight. Once again, get to the last round, and like I said, I've also negated, or he's also we realized his grand strategy was negated because it was to have a unit of wizards in the center, and that giant piece of terrain impassable was dead center, so there's no way for him to do that. Yeah, so I'm like, I'm looking pretty good, but he's keeping up on the score, and then we get to the last round, and I'm like, okay, there's 2 things that need to happen. I need to get my last tactic, which was to take my Shadow Stalkers, put them 9 inches away. I have an 8-inch charge with a reroll. And I charge in. I'd get that battle tactic. I'd also get my grand strategy because they hadn't fought or died yet in the combat. And wouldn't you believe it, I rolled a 6 and then a 4.
It's the reroll charge. It's a trap.
It is. Well, I did check before I did this. I'm like, because I needed either the battle tactic or the grand strategy, and I looked. I'm like, there was no other grand strategy I could have achieved at that point. So like, it's like I'm going for broke on both. I missed it. That means he was able to pull the win out by 1 point. And it was just like, oh. But like I said, bottom of 5 until we figured it out. So I can't be unhappy. Plus, like we connected. I think he's moving to Philly area. He used to hang out in Pittsburgh. I'm not sure if it was family or friends or used to live here, but I made a good friend. It was a great game. Like I said, it was just like, oh, like, like when I rolled that second one, I realized I'd lost the game. Like my heart just sank. I'm like, oh no, because I needed to hit either one of those to get it. I just couldn't do it. But, was it 3-1 for my record, and at this point, I'm kind of like pretty sure. Unless both of you lose hard, I'm not getting out of this. But I'll let you guys tell the tale of the game 4 for yourself.
Yeah. So for my turn 4, I sat down and I saw there was
Oh, sorry.
Unfortunately,
Sorry.
yeah, no,
Before you get in, I want to say a quick shout out to my rune lord, that I brought as an ally, my Caradron representative, because he shut down Total Eclipse twice, back to back turns. He's like, and he adds it up, and he's just like, boom, 11. I'm like, okay, double boxcars. I was just like, fuck. Felt so good to be like, because he had a little thing like, it was helpful. Like, it said Total Eclipse, and he gave it to me so I could put it next to my book, so I could always remember that I had it when I was doing my game plan. It was very helpful and it was very kind. It was so good giving it back to him. Sorry.
So my opponent rolls up and she has Gloomspike Gits. I'm like, okay, specifically squigs. So I see a lot of squigs and not much else. And I'm like, okay, so you've also gone 1 and 3 and you have a bunch of squigs. I have a pretty good feeling on this. Now, I also saw her the day before, whenever her and our buddy Jake were playing against each other, and Jake was asking questions, and so she asked a couple of questions too. So I had a feeling she was a little bit newer. The original plan was to bring my incarnate list for this one, but I just couldn't bring my incarnate list against someone that was still kind of learning the ropes. And during our game, I talked to her, and she stated that she basically Nashcon last year, because she came with her significant other and he played, and Nashcon looked like so much fun to her that she was like, I'm gonna start playing too.
Awesome.
So less than a year, she's already doing her first event. Love to see it. And again, last thing you want to do is
But yeah, here's a model that the most seasoned people in this game fucking hate. Like,
so I'm like, okay, all right, I'll just do my incarnate list round 5. It's not what I want to do, but okay, that's fine. And it kind of played out the way I expected. Now I do have to say, if she keeps playing and she keeps focusing, she's going to be a force to reckon with. Like, she already was like thinking. She'd already done a couple things to like where she was showing that she was thinking the next turn ahead.
nice.
Like she was teleporting models to the other side of the table, and it took me. I didn't understand exactly what she was doing at the moment, and then like I was like, oh, she's setting it up for. So she has 3 models on 3 different sides, and I was like, okay, all right, I see what's going on here. And so the tactics were phenomenal for someone that has as much experience as she had under her belt. But again, at the end of the day, like, squigs are surprisingly resilient.
The 2 wounds each is kind of can catch you off guard. Because
Right.
I did a game at a club against a squig army, and it was just like, yeah, I'm gonna shoot you, and you're not gonna touch me, and I can beat you.
Right. I mean,
Yeah.
she had 2 double reinforced units of squigs.
Oof, that's a lot of wounds.
It's
Oh,
it's a
that's a
lot of
lot to get
wounds,
through.
and it's a lot of squigs. So like I got it down turn 1. I got 1 block of squigs. That's another thing. I was fortunate enough that I was able to position in a way that I only had to engage 1 block of squigs at a time, and I knew that running away squigs deal mortal wounds when they run. So I was like, okay, Endrin Riggers, you really need to polish off those ratchet guns because you ain't getting in there right now. uh, so I was able to get 1 block down to just the handlers.
Nice.
And then squigs cannot be issued commands, so
Right.
she built her list. So she was like 1940, so she basically just like she was like, I am going to get my my fucking
Triumph. Yeah.
triumph. And so she went indomitable, and then she went in a way that she could get herself a second enhancement and got a second instance of indomitable, which, seeing how that list plays, absolutely the right way to go.
Yeah.
So I got him down to just the handlers, so she used indomitable, and then whenever it came to be her turn, you get to roll a die for each handler, and I forget if it's a 2 or 3 up, you get to bring back D3 squigs.
Yep.
So she had, since it was double reinforced, I forget how many she had. It was like
I think-
5 or 6.
Yeah, you get like 2 for every 10 or something. Something weird.
It was ridiculous. A ridiculous amount. So she brings back like 18 squigs, and I'm like, oh god. And again, like I think what her next move was pretty was pretty smart against any list but mine. So she takes that list and pulls it back, or I'm sorry, that block, and pulls it back for further healing, and then brings her other block in. At which point I was able to redeploy my frigate so it was closer to the ironclad. So if she charges the ironclad, I can all out attack it, which I absolutely did.
You mean
and
unleash
rolled? Yeah, unleash hell. Sorry. And it was an odd time, but I was rolling really hot, and so I really tore that block apart before it even got to me. And hey Neil,
Neil,
you with
What?
us?
I'm here.
falling asleep on us.
No, I'm good. I'm
Okay.
just hanging out, listening.
Enjoying stories.
But
No,
did it like pause with my eyes closed or something?
Like you were not
Yeah.
moving.
That's
Dude.
hilarious. I'm just sitting here listening.
So I felt really bad, but she was a great sport about it. She was cheering on my victories, my good rolls as much as her own, if not more. So this was even though I think we only got to round 3 before she called it, we did only have like 20 minutes left by the end of that. But yeah, so that was win number 2.
Nice.
My game 4 was against one of the tough crowd guys, Joe Picano. So
Yeah.
never had a chance to play Joe before. Super nice guy.
Mhm.
Was helping me out with some of the rules and everything here and there, just reminding me, hey, this and that, throughout the game. So unbeknownst to me until after the game. So now I played one of the worst games of my my Warhammer career at this tournament, but that was the end of that. So unbeknownst to me, he played another KO and had destroyed that army almost within turn 1. And
Joe had
he
the
did it
shooty stormcast,
because
right?
what's that?
Joe had shooty stormcast, if I recall.
No, Joe
Right.
had he may have had some in there, but what he was playing, the list he took against me was 3 long strikes, the big dragon, starts with a
Karazai.
K.
Yeah, Karazai. That's right.
Karazai, yeah.
Yeah.
He had and then it was all annihilators. Half with
Annihilate.
shields,
Oh,
half
boy.
with the big things, and then he had the prime as well, and then one casty general guy in the back. And so we're playing that stepped scenario, right? Where you only have like 2 inches towards like the bottom, like the deployment zone. What's the name of this one?
Every step is forward.
Every step is
Yep,
forward,
yep.
right? So I took a look at this list. He's like, yeah, when I drop down, I do some mortal wounds, and when I do this, I do mortal wounds. And I do this to everybody within a certain amount of inches, and I'm starting like, okay, well, I understand what's going to happen here.
Big bubble of
Like,
I'm
we
going to
need
lose
put some
models.
things out as like lambs to the slaughter, and so I jumped out 4 of my heroes I did not know, and I strategically put them around the deployment zones where number 1 they could get to the objectives, but number 2 the 9-inch bubble, or in this case some of those guys could come in within 7, was far enough away, and I packed my 2 frigates all the way into the corner. Was far enough away so that he could not just nuke my boats off turn 1. Right, so he gives me first turn, which is great. I'm like, all right, so achieved. Because I certainly did not want him to come in turn 1 and just take my whole army off.
Right.
So I ran one guy up, got on one objective, and then I flew my boat, flew high. One of the boats wasn't the flagship; it was the other one, and we took out the long strikes. Didn't want the long strikes pipping off heroes or anything like that. Shot a couple times into Karazai, who had like 3 of the not decimators. the guys with the halberds that like protect a hero.
Oh yeah, the bodyguards.
Yeah,
Begins with
they come
B,
in the
Praetors,
opinion box, so
Praet-
chances are you have them.
Yeah, units
So-
of 3.
and I do that mean that everybody who's listening. So, but anyway, so I didn't do much damage there. But I'm like, okay, we're gonna sacrifice this boat. But again, we just scored 5 points, right? I got my my battle tactic, which was to shoot something off that first turn there, and so all right, so here we are, and we'll see what happens now. So he goes, takes out one of my frigates, then polishes them off with a couple of the guys with the big hammers and everything. So he's starting to drop stuff down. But the problem with Stormcast is, and I'm sure Matt knows this, is that once these guys are down, they don't move very far.
Yep.
Right.
Like
And
4
the other
inches.
problem with Stormcast right now is they don't have battle tactics that are useful or they can score, right? I think he wound up getting 2, maybe 3 battle tactics in this game. He did win the double. He did come down and get me off one of those objectives. But again, now I have so much. Did he win the double or did I can't remember. Either way, what happened was a bing bang kind of. I take something of his out. He takes something of mine out. But now I'm over here, and now he's got to come get me over here. And now guess what? I'm flying away again, and now I'm over here, and I take this out, and so I'm scoring points, even though he's taken out parts of my army. I still got a boat that's just kind of
Doing its thing.
chucking and jiving here. So it comes down basically to the 4th turn. If my boat survives, I get my grand strategy. So if I roll and I win turn 5, I'm going to fly over to the other side of the board. I'm going to get a few points. I'm going to be so far away that hopefully what I'm going to do is, even if he can get somebody, close enough to like within the 9 inches, I'm going to redeploy and make it a very difficult time for him to try and get my strategy, right?
Mhm.
So, unfortunately, I do not win the turn. And so what ends up happening is he does kill my boat. I may be able to get like 1 extra point or something like that in that turn. And I did choose Magical Mayhem in that game. I think you heard me do that, right, Matt? That's just an inside joke between us. But yeah, he winds up winning 23 to 20 or something like that. So he wins by the 3 points where I lost the grand strategy, right? So otherwise, I probably get that W. And so, damn it, close one, fun game, but it wasn't to be.
That's fun. I think
I gotta give you credit for taking stuff out of the boat.
Yeah, it was
Super smart.
it was a difficult decision. I'm like, well, clearly this engine master is not going to do me much good in this scenario, other than die.
They all scatter, and Joe's there with a giant hammer, and everything scatters, and he's like, "Well, shit, I only have 1 hammer."
Right. All of a sudden, you have 3 units of annihilators with the grand hammers coming at you. That's not ideal. 7 inches away with a reroll, no bueno.
I do like. I think you gave a good analogy while we were chatting. I think at dinner Sunday night, where it's like all these games that we keep playing. It's like the first couple rounds, it's like haha, back and forth, we're doing good, and then at the end, it's just like, oh god, what can I do? Like you're going everywhere, mental gymnastics. No matter how well you've prepared, you're just like,
because there's very little stuff left, and you're like, what is happening?
And
here?
the tactics are harder for the most part, so it's
Yep.
All right. Well, anyway,
it becomes a fire drill.
Game 5. I rock up. Matthew McClendon. Now, obviously, we're both on a losing record trade, but I see he's wearing a tough crowd jersey, and being in a tough crowd, I was even talking to Joe about this. Being in a tough crowd doesn't mean you have to be a great player. You just have to be fun. But if you hang around people who are better players than you usually get better over time. Like that's just the natural instinct. So like I think that's definitely helps. Like that group, they're a bunch of good players. They help bring each other up by practice and playing. So I'm like, okay, this might be a bit of a harder matchup for a game 5 to try and get the one and only win I might have a chance of getting. And I sit there and he offers me a beer. We're chatting. We're in Nexus Collapse, which is a fun one because scenarios are going to go away. And I'm going, okay, well, I can move quick, so I got the mobility. What list does he have? Oh, he has Croak and a Slan. Great. I'm glad I got to go through tech lists and now Croak. This is
Perfect.
this is a great way to try and have to squeeze out a victory.
Too bad there was no Nagash.
No, thankfully Brad took that out. So yeah, we deploy. Actually, I'm looking here. We did exact alternating every turn. He went first, I went second every single round. Which, and I think I said this many times to you and many other people, but if I ever have a game like that, I almost always win them. Because of how I play. Like I planning to be double turned while still being in a position to hopefully take advantage of something. But just the way the dice rolled, he went first every time. And I think he won the dice roll for all of them. I don't think, outside of the first, I think I let him go first. And after that, he kept rolling the dice rolls. But I will take a game like that anytime because I can always just capitalize on that usually. And we're going back and forth. I crushed. I got all 5 grand strategies. I got all 5 of my battle tactics. I got my grand strategy, holding objective, and with this scenario, if you're lower on points, you choose objectives to go away, and he took obviously the 2 in my territory to go away first, and after that he stopped taking any of them to go away because I'm coming towards him and I'm still outscoring him with the way I'm positioning and like hitting all my tactics. That he's like, I can't get rid of these because then it just guarantees me the win. He has to try and take them off me. There was a little bit back and forth, so he kept close in this game. And we get down to it. Bottom of 5. I need 1 tactic, and we were close. We were kind of close in time. There was like 10 minutes left. We're at bottom of 5. I'm like, okay, it's fine. We're just gonna skip some combat. I'm not even gonna be in combat if I can help it. Move here, do this, and and we played it quick the last round. Very much helping each other out. It's like, yeah, you'd have that. That's no problem. Like we weren't doing the precise measurements, but yeah, that makes sense. That's clear. That blah 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 blah. To get through it, and I won. I think by like 1 point, 27 to 26, and it was just like, whoa. Like I didn't even shoot Croak once. I almost in bottom of 4. I almost took off his Slan, which was his general, which he had to keep that alive for his grand strategy. And if I would have gotten that, we probably would have been able to stop playing the game, but I failed by a wound. So it was like, shit. That's why we had to keep going. And like I said, there was not much left on either side. He had a big unit of Sarsgaard, 20 strong. He threw them into my bow snakes. They shot off most of it, and then they combated off the rest and shot in 2 turns. It was phenomenal. It was a great player. He definitely, this is his first full army that he's had. Some 3D print sculpts, but like really well done. Because like I couldn't even tell. I was like, they looked like GW quality. It was like pretty remarkable. I was like, where are those STLs at? But I was talking to him after too. Like if he keeps playing that list, and he seems to be the type to just have like, this is my army. This is what I play. I was like, you're clean and getting efficient with it. Like you're gonna be a terror if you keep honing this list and keep going on from there. Yeah, absolutely great game. Like I said, bottom of turn 5 again. That's 4 of my games for this event went to bottom of 5 to determine a victor, which means I got the most out of my Warhammer money possible. And a small bonus during this, much like us, as we do locally for our stuff, if there's ever prize support as in models, they're not associated with actually awards. They're just given away randomly. That's how you do it. Like better way system, random prize support is always best. And David's walking around with like some, was it the Vanguard boxes, start collecting all that sort of stuff. He's just walking. I think he's doing every other table, and he would just have a box and just make the people roll off. He walks up to me and Matthew's table. He's like, all right, gentlemen, roll off. Boom. Nashcon dice says 6. Matthew pulls out his 4. And David looks at me. He just starts laughing. He's like, congratulations, Chuck. You just won a KO Vanguard box. And I was like, even he was just like, it's too perfect for all the bullshit you have. And I was like, Matt was like a row up in like a the table left. I'm like, Matt, I want KO, and he's just like, fuck. Now, ultimately, the local crew we made this thing that if any one of us won anything, we'd give it to Jake because he was borrowing an army, and this was his first tournament, so he could start his own army. And him and I played at GitCon, and he actually said he really liked the look of KO, so it was actually a perfect fit. It's like, perfect, here you go. You had a good start to KO army. We can go from there. But still, just winning KO was just like, yeah, that's great.
Oh, look, the army I was supposed to bring.
Yeah, look, I had it. It's just like, nope, it was coming to me either way, Matt. It's just in a box, unassembled.
So I do have to ask, because like Seraphon's one of those armies that I'm interested in. How did you think it played?
It was Croak is. Here's the thing. I don't ever want to say anything's a must, but Croak just being able to just do his Mortal Wound bomb spell 4 times in a row was just so hard to live through. Like I'm praying on 6 ups.
I couldn't imagine what that would have been like against KO.
Boof. Oh yeah.
Just
take it off.
Not a chance.
the basic battle line, like skinks and stuff like that. I mean, they can go around, but like they weren't stressful. Like they did their stuff, but I wasn't ever worried about it. It was the magic, and then the fact that he could summon, because just being he could generate so many points. It's like, even if you because remember when you cast a spell, you roll to see if you cast it, then you choose a target. So he was just casting all these spells, even though he was out of range for a lot of them, because it casts. Oh, there's no target, no problem. But he'd still get the points to summon. So every round he was summoning something. So there's definitely play for it. I think that board was maybe like a bad setup for him. It kind of blocked him in a little bit. And like I said, it was tough. Trying to think, and then every turn you could point at a terrain feature and roll dice and do mortal wounds, things within 3. Like there's just a lot of mortal wounds to put out with that. And if you don't have a mortal wound survivability, even like 6 up, I'm happy with. Like that's fine. But if you're playing against KO or like Seraphon, you're just gonna make them melt real quick.
What'd you think of the Source Warriors? I saw you had a couple of those on the table.
They're whatever. They didn't bother me at all. Like I was shooting them off with bow snakes, and like, but the fact that I was able to melee them off, because he charged outside of his banner range. He didn't. That was a mistake on his part. But that banner gives him the 5-up ward. As soon as he lost that ward, they were pretty easy to take out.
Yeah.
So, but if you plan to have that, you should be okay.
Because on the coalesce side, they get the +1 to their jaw, so they're doing mortal wounds on a 5-up at the end of combat. So
yeah, but even that's not like my snakes do mortal wounds on a 2-up after I fight. Like I was just like, boom, take that, and he's like the 5-up.
Not everyone's daughter's a cane, you jacket.
No, but like they didn't seem worrisome. They seemed like they had a use, but you need to have that banner nearby to babysit for the ward, I feel. And he ran at unit 20. Maybe that was a bad mistake. Maybe you should do tunes 10. Like I said, there's room to play. I don't know Seraphon well. But like I said, it was the magic that kept catching my attention.
No one around here plays them, so I don't know.
That'd be a fun one to pull out. But no, and then so I finish up. Actually, I do remember too, like when there's like just a few minutes left and we're trying to get through the game, we're doing a quick talk. Like David walks by and like he sees like making sure the last table is cleaning up. He walks by, he sees me, and I just give him a thumbs up and he walks away. Because he's like yeah, check TOs. He knows about this bullshit. And he'll I'm like, we're done at 4 times over always. I like this is the only one I was like getting hard for it, but like there's a lot going on. But 1-3-1, mission accomplished. We didn't get swept, got a win. Technically a better record than my last 2 events where I was 1-4. So I'll take it.
Moving on up.
Matt, before you start on yours, so now we got Chuck at 1-3-1. We got Matt at 2-2, right? We got me at 1-3.
Yep.
So at this point, Matt is in the lead.
Yep, I'm out.
I can fall still to last place.
Yep.
Or I could potentially win it if Matt loses. And I win. Which is a big ask, right?
Yep.
So the game is definitely still afoot as far as the overall placings for us 3.
So are you sure you're not like a Steelers fan where you go into the playoffs and you need someone else to lose or win so you can get in? or something.
Did you just ask me if I'm sure I'm not a Steeler fan?
Well, that's what Steelers have to do. Steelers fans have to do every year. Like, are we making it to the playoffs? I was like, I don't know. This team has to beat this team, and this team has to lose over here, and the stars have to align, and Jupiter has to be in retrograde.
I'm a Browns fan, and that's why I'm 1-3 in this event. But anyway, go on, Matt.
So, so for my turn, or my round 5, I'm sitting here going, I have to bring friggin' stupid ass Incarnate with me now.
Oh, I do have to say real quick, I took my witch elf list in that or no, I took my snake list in the last one. I actually alternated my list each time without realizing it. Anyway,
yeah,
Incarnate bullshit. Let's go.
My Incarnate bullshit, and my opponent brought his Be'lakor bullshit. So
he brought big bullshit. That's what I'm hearing here.
Yeah, like if anything, in any other tournament, I would have been perfectly happy with my main list, and I probably would have done a lot better with my main list, but probably not. It doesn't matter. I have yet to be able to stand up to Slaves to Darkness under any circumstance. I'm pretty sure I do not own an army that can do anything against Slaves to Darkness. So it starts off. I go first because I was figuring, I'm like, okay, well, I'll just get things going here. I set up my Ironclad a little bit further away just to make sure I'm out of the range of their spells because.
Did you outdrop him?
Yeah.
And you still chose first, huh?
Yes. Because guess what? If I could get to his shit before he gets buffed up, then the game's mine.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, if Matt was able to kill Be'lakor top 1, that puts the whole game in his favor immediately.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I mean, so again, like, because again, the base war scrolls aren't that scary. It's all the spells.
Yeah,
sure.
So this was, I think it's Kabbalist is the caster one.
Sounds right. I don't know, top of my head.
It's probably it. Yeah, I mean, of course it's the Kabbalist. Come on, man, keep up.
This is the 6 objectives that can
disappear
starting in the second round. Right. The person who's scoring lowest gets to blow up 1 or 2.
2
or none.
2.
They can blow 1 or 2 up. If you tie, it's 1.
If you're, yeah. So I go first. He elects the Be'lakor bullshit with my Ironclad, and Hero Phase rolls doesn't get any rolls of 1 or 2 for your what. Movement phase rolls 3. Can't move my Ironclad. Everything's stuck where it is on the other side of the board. So then I move up with my Incarnate. I attempt to charge. Snake Eyes.
Oh.
End of turn. So he buffs everything to high hell. So everything's, ones, re-rolling, increase rend, increase damage, ward rolls, the whole 9. And then he's basically out of buffing spells, and then decides to do the one from the General's Handbook that does the 4d6 mortal wounds.
Merciless Blizzard. Yep.
Yeah, so he gets that off and does 17 wounds to the Incarnate, automatically dropping it to level 0. I'm like,
level 1.
Hey, whatever, the bottom level.
Yeah.
And then we roll off, and he gets the double.
But didn't you kill that off in 1 turn though?
You cannot kill the Incarnate off in 1 turn.
Correct. I thought you did though, and forgot about that.
No, it was basically just the double. It was like, okay, there's no point.
Okay.
So we shook and moved on, and I being in that position, being on the other side, a couple times in Fabricators, he was like feeling terrible. I was like, dude, look, if you could cast that spell and you didn't cast that spell, you'd be dumb not to do it.
Right.
Because at that, I was like, we're here at a tournament.
You brought your shit. Own it. I'm not gonna be mad at you. Just own it.
Right. And that's what I told him. I was like, look, if you can cast that spell and you're not gonna cast that spell, that means you're going easy on me, which is not what I wanted at a tournament.
Right.
and I said, I made him promise me that he understood that we were cool and I had no problem with the game. And so we sat down, we had a talk and everything. We talked a little bit about Conquest, we talked a little bit about GW, future releases, stuff like that. And no, like I said, it was I think we talked longer than we played. And we kind of talked it through, and he was kind enough to give me say I was going to take 2 battle tactics. He's like, let's just pretend you were going to play keep away, so you could do the one where you get out of the boat, then get back in the boat, and I would be able to get into you after that. And I'm like, that's fair enough.
Yeah, there you go. Talk it out.
So yeah, so I got 4 points, and then he maxed.
There you go.
So any other person in that tournament, in that bracket level, I probably would have been able to at least do a little better. But no, it was complete shutdown.
Well, it seems stars might be aligning.
So Matt gets a loss, right?
Yep.
And so he walks over to my table. I'm playing Cale Thompson. Cale is the brother-in-law of Dave, the TO. So and just an awesome guy. I mean, Matt said that he played KO Neal last year. Different guy, just saying that he was kind of a lot like me. I felt a kindred spirit across the table for me in this game. I'm like, you are basically me with Gits. He was just a great guy. He told me that he had voted my army as one of the coolest that he saw. He was just enthralled with the boats. He loved the fact that I had the transfers on there with the pinup girls and everything. And he
Congrats on your best painted nomination too, Neil.
I did get a nomination. I did bring my little coin here.
There you go. Nice, and that's so classy. I love how that happens. Like that's such a cool little bonus.
I was just like, I came over to Matt. I was just like, what does it mean if you have one of these coins on your thing? Because I feel like somebody made a mistake.
Yeah, he came over and asked me, and I was like, it means you got disqualified.
It's like, as I'm looking at both of your display boards, I'm like, those are both cooler than what I brought, because I brought some trees. And when I told you both, like, here's the table that's going to win Nashcon. I was joking.
Apparently, maybe David listens.
I think I wanted the strength of the pinup girls. So let that be a lesson to you guys. Put some pinup girls.
I had some Taylor Swift AI generated art to make her look like a witch elf. All right, I don't know what else I can do for these people out there.
Right, I thought that was amazing too. It looked really, really good. Like, it's seamless. But so yeah, he's got a Gits army that's heavy on the trolls.
Real quick. Hold on a second. Got to put the picture from the Taylor Swift concert again, since I mentioned her. Hold on.
All right, perfect.
Okay, back to you.
All right. So he's got a list heavy on the trolls. He's got 20 just like regular goblin spearmen, which can control an objective from 9 inches away.
Oh, wow.
As long as the unit's at full strength. And while that sounds like trivial, that's a lot. It played quite the role in the event.
Yeah.
Or in the game. Because it was really annoying, because I wound up I took again my 2 frigate, one gun hauler list with all the bubble boys and all that. And he had a unit of 2 of those, like those big trolls. What are they called? Like the bigger ones that
Fell Rock?
What's that?
The Fell Rock?
I guess. Yeah. And then one of them was the same type of troll as the guy that's kind of holding the big old, double-handed.
Oh, that's the Dankhold.
Yeah, Dankhold. That's right. And so then he had one of those guys was like the hero one with like 14 wounds or some shit.
Oh,
right?
the Underworlds one. Yeah.
George.
Not the Underworlds one. This is like the main one. Okay. Yeah. But those things slap. Holy shit.
They do. Yeah.
I don't think I've ever played Gits.
See, you don't have to deal with having Brad in your area who says it's a soft list to bring trolls, and you're just like, shut the fuck up, Brad. It's not. All right.
Oh my god.
Trolls are good.
He had the trolls with the 4+ ward save that heal, and the other trolls that didn't have a ward save. And so turn 1, he gives me turn 1, And so I'm like, well, we got to shoot something off, don't we? So, and I'm looking around at my options here, and he's got a unit of 3 of like the softer trolls, softer. And then he's got a unit of 6 of them over there. So I'm like, well, we're just going to go nuts. I'm going to try and shoot off the unit of 3 with my gun hauler and my flagship. And then I'm going to fly high this other one over here, and I'm just going to shoot that unit of 6 and ram it, and just hope that we can take off everything. Now, I know that the unit of 20 spearmen with the 5 fanatics is floating around right behind that unit of 6 trolls.
Yep.
Okay?
Yep.
It wasn't ideal. I'm like, but I feel like I gotta go do this. So I shoot off the one side, but I'm not close enough. I couldn't get close enough to get that objective that was kind of towards the middle and the left-hand side, because he had the unit of grots that was 9 inches away, but was still more than what my boat was. So there's no way for me to control that. So right now I only control 2 objectives. He will wind up controlling 2 objectives and then more in the next turn. But I do take out both units of those trolls. I hit his other unit of trolls that has the 4+ ward save and got with the navigator and gave him half movement. They don't move very fast, so you can have their movement. It's pretty good. So I felt like, I'd done, and it kind of softened him up enough so that I can kind of survive this, right? So so I do that. The next turn, he pops the fanatics. I've got 2 of my engine riggers that had popped out of that boat to try and get first strike against his trolls, which was useful and which did help, kind of finish him off. And so he decides to take all the fanatics into the boat, which probably a great idea. And he fails to kill it by 2 wounds.
That's
so the
good.
boat's still up there. The boat's still so. Now turn 2. At this point, like I'm not sure what the hell's going to happen, because if Matt comes walking by my table already at this point, he goes, "Well, it's up to you." At this point, now I'm having a great discourse with this guy. We're talking about my boats. We're talking about what he's talking about, how he wants to start a KO army, and then he walks by and he says this, and I'm like, "Oh shit, man, I got to play this hard." It's like in a game, like you're trying to get in the playoffs. And so, like, it only is going to happen if somebody else loses and you win by 3 or whatever.
Being a Steelers fan, so, so that's our life.
Right.
Actually,
so
real quick, I have to drop an anecdote here, because Matt, Ben, and Jake, and I think since I was the last one out of the group of us playing it, all of them had walked up at some point and looked at my little book of scoring and stuff to figure out what was going on. And I remember hearing someone going, "Is he winning?" And someone else goes, "I have no idea." And I'm just ignoring them completely. I'm like, I must win, because they're rooting for me to get a win, but
right. So a lot hinges on whether or not I win the roll off here, because if this buddy double turns me, because he brought in that first turn, he brought up that unit of 2 big trolls and the hero troll, and he was able to charge the 2 trolls into my, I redeployed and got my gun hauler like closer in the way so that they couldn't like wrap around and get to my flagship, right? So he just went bing, and took the gun hauler out. That thing went flying, and not in a good way. And so I wound up, thank God, it finally happened. I won a roll off. If I don't win that roll off, things turn out in this little competition of ours a lot differently. Spoilers. So it's a lot of back and forth. It's a lot of me healing boats, him attacking boats, me healing the boats, him just not killing the boats, and me healing them back enough, right? And so we get down to the end of the game. I'm able to we're blowing up 2 objectives a turn here as well. Thankfully, I've kind of kept in mind being far enough away from these things, so everything in my boat's not taking a bunch of mortal wounds. I was the one who got to collapse him once. He was the one who got to collapse him a second time. And so we're down to just 2 objectives left. And so he brought his unit of grots up, and he got the one in the very far corner, and there's one in the very other opposite diagonal far corner. Those are the only 2 that are left. And I jumped a bunch of guys out of my boat, moved them up, and this is Brock Grunson. This is 6 engine riggers, and oh hell, I mean I did not jump out the admiral. I left him in there, and they went and
Someone's gonna
I
fly the damn
retreated.
thing.
I retreated my other frigate out where it could still shoot. And we just leveled that unit of 20 grots and took that objective right there. I flew high with my flagship over to the opposite corner where he had like what's the fungoid cave shaman over there. He was an inch out of controlling that objective himself. We shot him off the board. So now he's got Scragrot, the Loon King. He's got that unit of like 4+ trolls. I wind up. Oh, I take out. I use my grenade to great effect. Take off the his general trolls ward save, and then it's like it's bomblets time, baby. This is it. I've been waiting for it 5 games. This is the scenario that I drew up in my brain
Yep,
here.
don't let
This
me
is the
down.
Timmy moment that I'm loving. Right, bomblets. 1. Not even a single wound. Not even 1 wound. So that did not work out, but I was able to take the other frigate and like charge it in and wind up killing his general, taking out the big core group of trolls there too, which was huge.
Yeah.
Because if I don't do that, those things are going to start pinging me off the board left and right. I mean, the unit of 6 of those trolls with the 4+ ward save were bad enough. I don't know what the hell kind of trolls they were, but they were very hard to kill. And so now I've got both objectives. We come to the next turn. And at this point, I've scored all my secondaries so far, and there's really not anything that he can do at this point. Even if I don't win the turn, I'm still going to be up on points. We've kind of figured out. And if I do, so we kind of played it out. We rolled the dice to see whether I win the turn or not. You know, I do wind up winning the turn. So yeah, even if he blows up both objectives, then he doesn't have any other opportunities to score other than secondaries. So he can't do that. So he chooses not to blow anything up. You know, I'm going to score more anyway at that point. So there was just no path to victory for him at that point. And so then I took the victory 2-3, and now it's all up to the differentials on our wins.
Yep.
And the overall scoring. So.
And you know, like I said, overall, before we announce that sort of stuff, like I said, overall, this was such a fantastic event. 5 great opponents. I've never had games this tight in Sigmar for a long time, and it feels good to have done that, even with my 1-3-1. I want to go back next year to Nashcon so badly. I like the 2-list format. I like the terrain, and all the people are super chill. Like I said, catching up with everybody there that I've known, meeting new people. Just phenomenal event, and I want to go. And the venue was nice. It was pretty cool.
Oh yeah. Outside of it being a little bit on the expensive side,
yeah,
it was good. So,
hey, only expensive when you decide to fly there and back.
That's true.
Yeah,
just got to drive like us and see the countryside. But shout out real quick to our local crew, because that Sunday we went out to dinner together, get a nice hangout together locally. But Brad took Best Destruction again. I think it's the 2nd year in a row he's got that. Or it's the 2nd time he's gotten it. Alex
I know he got it the year we went down the first time.
Yeah, Alex got runner-up, coolest army. So shout out to both those guys for that. But more importantly, I have a picture I'm going to put up of David, the most handsome TO ever, handing Neil the contract. Oh, here, let me scoot it out so we can see you too, Neil. Here, just cover me and Matt up. Taking the win because the differential worked out in your favor. There you go.
I think by 2 points in the tournament over Matt, and then I think you were not many points behind us either.
I kept it close. I am happy that there was 3 Daughters of Cain players there. I wasn't the worst Daughters of Cain player, and the other 2 had Marathi, so I felt good about that too. But yeah, like it is fun. We were always close. This is the same order we had at Warhammer. Neil, Matt, me. But yeah. No, it was great. And
no. Matt technically finished first. It was Matt, Neil, me.
Oh, Matt. Oh, it was opposite. I'm sorry.
This was a vengeance. This was the vengeance. This was a vengeance tour, a revenge tour for me.
It's hard to hear you down here in the bottom of the ship.
Chris
Sorry.
has flown way too close to the sun.
I do, once again, another shout out to David and Anthony for running a stellar event, making gorgeous tables, and also be willing and enjoying the little fun that we had of this little narrative, well, my narrative of bullshit, and this little competition that we held amongst ourselves. To David even giving you the award and wanting to get a picture of it too. So,
Yeah. That was cool.
yeah, class all around and great event. But yeah, I'm moving up, boys. My records are improving.
There we go. There we go.
Half
It was
steps at
only
a time.
0.5 at a time.
Yep, 0.5 at a time. I mean, I am thrilled. I think I've told you guys I track all my Daughters of Cain games since the very beginning because I've tracked all my games. Now I only track my Daughters of Cain because it became a nightmare otherwise. Every edition, every book, I've been positive win rate. This is the first edition book where I've been negative more so than not. And I've been fighting to get back. I was a little bit positive going into Nashcon, and because of the draw and everything, I'm now like dead even. I'm a net even on my win-loss ratio right now, and I'm just like, oh boy, gotta go beat up some seals right now. That felt good too, just knowing that like, okay, I didn't give myself a hole, and I can get out of this hole now that freaking bounty hunters are gone. Stupid
All
shit.
you got to do is play me a couple times. Just play me 5 times in a row. You get 5 wins. So
No, I'm gonna go weekly barn night and see who wants to play
'cause I
Sigmar
can't
while they're
beat
like
you.
half a bottle deep. Oh. Yeah, Matt, do you have any closing thoughts about Nashcon?
I mean, yeah, of course. Like we said, Nashcon is absolutely amazing, top-notch event. So glad we went. Um, it does leave me with a lot of head scratching on like what needs to be done to kind of go to the next level. Neil and I took armies that allegedly have a 54% win rate
56, I
and
think.
56% win rate, and I just don't see it. It's like if anything touches those boats, the boats are gone. And then if you don't have a boat, like if you come into the game with a boat and you leave without a boat, there's very little chance you win. So clearly that's not the case, or clearly we're not playing the right way, like definitively. There's no other real way to put it other than definitively we're not doing something right, and I can't figure out what it is. Outside of something simple like bring a unit of Arcanauts to get in the way, but
I run Arcanauts when I was playing my KO, and that doesn't help from what I've seen.
No, I tried it one time and I quickly put them away.
well, I mean, like even if it's like the only reason they're there is just to be a speed bump, like I don't know, I'm not sure what I'm missing.
Yeah, and there's things you need to find like a high level competitive game in an event that you can watch to really see what's going on. But also, it's hard to see that on a stream.
Yeah.
Like you kind of need to be there in person to kind of see that sort of thing. But
What's
I
it? There
get that.
was, I forget what year it was. I think it was no. I think it was no, it wasn't Cancun Con. There was one where Vince was actually doing the announcing.
Yeah, it was CanCon. It was Australia. It wasn't Can.
Okay.
Yeah, Australia.
CanCon.
CanCon. Yeah.
I need to look that
Canberra.
up again because I caught it while I was working, so I wasn't able to give it the attention it
That's like
deserved.
that's an addition. That's like a book and maybe two
Uh,
ago. That's
well, I still think there's probably some fundamentals in there that
maybe.
because the gold he was spitting, man.
You can always just message him and ask, and he'd probably be like, "Oh, this is what you're doing wrong." But yeah,
Yeah, I think
I mean, he lives close
Good.
by. Just go over and be like, "Hey Vince, let's get a game in, and you teach me how to fix my shit."
You're like, how'd you find out where I live? Don't worry about that now.
That's not the issue. Warhammer time. Okay.
but again, like I said, going anytime I go 2 and 3, it makes me want to. I go one of two ways where I either want to put the game down or I want to figure out how to get to more reliably 3-2 and ultimately 4-1, and that's the camp I'm in this time.
Right. Oh, that's fair. So is KO shelved, Matt?
Oh yeah.
KO shelved.
Like I said, and again, like I said prior to the event, it's nothing that KO did wrong. It's just KO's going this way, and my playstyle preference is this way. That's all. That's what it boils down to.
Gotcha. Neil, what about you? Any closing thoughts on Nashcon?
Talking about what my goals were before I came in, I was hoping for 2 and 3. 2 and 3, right? I mean, that's my par. That's if Warhammer is golf and my par is 2 and 3, that's where I'm at, baby. That's that's pretty much where I end up every single tournament. So I was a little afraid of 1 and 4 this time. I thought I might go a little south of the par, a little bogey, but we made it in the end. Was happy to get down and see Nashville. It was a lot of fun. I did. My wife came down with me a couple days early, and we just got to hang out and bum around Nashville a little bit, and that was a lot of fun as well. So I'm going to take a lot from this event. It's going to be a very memorable event for me. I was happy with the way KO played. It's certainly a one of a kind army as far as Age of Sigmar goes.
Yeah.
There is nothing else that plays anything even close to what that's like. So if I go away from KO and I start playing my corn or whatever, it's gonna feel like having to relearn how to play this game all over again. So I've already been started kind of putting lists together for corn just to see what I got and what I'd like to kind of try and do. But yeah, I'd love to go back as well. We'll see whether that happens or not. But yeah, it was a great event, top 3 for me.
Nice. So I guess for you, you're saying also KO is shelved for the time being.
No,
Just
KO
not
won't be
necessarily.
shelved. I'd love to play with them some more. Unfortunately, right now they are at Matt's house, and so until I make the
That's fair.
sojourn
Yeah,
back
we
to
drove it.
back to see Matt, I will have no options but to play my corn until then. So
I've only put them in the
I was.
dryer.
I just want to say one more thing too. I'm really happy to even be nominated for my army. I think that has a lot. It is by far and away my coolest army. If I look on the shelf, what I have,
It's a super cool idea.
what I spent a lot of time on those boats. I spent a lot of time on the theme and my lore for it, and it's certainly a labor of love.
Mm-hmm.
And so to even just be, just have one person even say, "Hey, that's really cool." It kind of lights a fire in me because honestly, as far as the board goes itself, like I said, I didn't try that hard on that, and you guys have seen what I'm capable of with mountains and bullshit like that. So it makes me kind of want to go, well, maybe next time, if I never feel like it's possible for me to win anything at these events when you got guys like Vince coming. You got guys putting TV screens behind their their shit. It's like I look at these things. I'm like, why do I even try? But
because you love it. It's you're not because you're trying for yourself.
Right. That's
100% yeah.
true. And that is why I do it. But also when you get a little bit of recognition, you're like, yeah, maybe I'll give a little oomph into the next one.
Yep.
Maybe I'll see what I can do if I really, really put my nose to the grindstone.
Yeah, good job, Nashcon. You made Neil believe in himself. Great.
You didn't make Matt give up on himself, and you made Neil believe in himself. Like you failed 2 times in a row. Those are the standard things we get.
So I'm beating my wings and I'm flying towards the sun, and you know that I'll get too close.
Rathy's up next for you. Watch out, sir.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, great event. I can't wait to go back. I'm going to try my best to go back. I will get back there, whether it's next year or the year after, however that works out. I had a blast. I'm glad we still did our little contract narrative thing. I'm glad you guys put up with my bullshit. I'm also glad I came in last because I had the lower percentage win rate. And if I would have won doing this, you guys would have just had egg on your faces.
I don't know. I would. There'd have been a protest, but it would have been denied, and that's fine.
That's fine. I'm happy I'm in your book of grudges for this bullshit I did too, Neil.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I'm glad for that.
I actually got 4 new entries into the book of grudges.
Matt got a few as well. There we go. Terathi doesn't have a grudge book. And in the contract, it worked out that there's no grudges on my end. But I think I am also going to put KO on the shelf for a little while and get back to my love, which is Daughters of Cain. I haven't played them in forever. And shout out to Whole Foods if you want cheap parking down near Broadway in Nashville. Accidentally park in Whole Foods. Go eat dinner, have a fun night, and then buy $2.76 bag of chips.
Illegally walk through the parking garage.
Yes, and get stared at by weird Nashville. No, that's fine. Because they're just like, well, these are the locals. They're mad at us. Oh well. Yes. Matt, thank you for coming on these past 2 podcasts to talk about Nashcon.
Oh, and another real quick, just channel update here. Now the Nashcon's in the rearview mirror, I'll be able to focus a little bit more on the upcoming Soulbound game
Ooh, yeah,
that we'll be playing. Neil, clear your fucking schedule.
We're getting there.
Monday nights, Friday nights, Sunday nights.
So again, we'll try and I'll be working on that in the next couple of weeks. So we'll hopefully try and get. The plan is to record a little bit ahead. That way, whenever Neil's schedule doesn't work, we have something to show anyways.
Sounds like angst.
No.
It sounds like angst.
No. It's just past performance. Don't hold it up so I reflect in the.
Actually, it's really funny if you hold it up the right way. You can see me and Matt, but Neil, your reflection of your reflection doesn't look appropriate.
Something with the bald head, I'm sure.
Yep. Soulbound's coming, and Matt's also painting Soulblight. That's why he screwed up and said that. That's his next project.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
My next project, though. Probably.
And also, it's not meta chasing. I literally bought the battalion box from either last year or the year before.
That's the story. He's sticking to it.
Yeah.
I don't have a Death Army, and I was starting it before it was good.
I don't have a Death Army either, but I wasn't even touching zombies. So
That's not my fault.
I'm just saying. I was at your house recently. I saw the bandwagon parked outside. All right, it's
Yep. A bunch of vampires hanging out in there.
Then thousands of zombies are just chilling. Like I'm ready
graphic
to explode. Yep.
Yeah, trust me. I'm not bringing that to an event anytime soon.
No,
You gonna put glitter on your vampires?
Unless one of you jackwagons are going to come over to the table and move my zombies for me.
Well, see, that would be. So if you dressed as a vampire and we dressed as like zombies to be the servants.
Oh, be the fattest, sparkliest vampire ever.
You'd have to sparkle up.
Oh yeah,
sparkle up. It'd be great. Okay, well, we will see you guys probably next week for the podcast. I bet Neil and I are probably going to talk about the Nova Open reveals that are going to be showed off next week. Matt, when's the next Big Imps Power Hour? It's Wednesday, I think. It's the 30th.
Oh, I thought it was Thursday. Anyways,
what's next Big Imp coming to us?
Not this Saturday, but the following Saturday. I believe that's the 1st.
Yeah, 1st or 2nd or something.
Hold on, let me check calendar.
Yep, I can do it.
No, because it's the 1st.
Oh yeah, you're releasing on Friday. Yeah. Oh yeah, we release on Friday.
Well, now Saturday. Now, since you finally started getting an actual schedule, we're boosted back to the first Saturday of the month.
That's fair. All right. Well, anyway, everyone look forward to that. I hope you've enjoyed the longest podcast we've done in a while, over 2 hours now, and
hey, almost a power hour.
Almost a power hour. Yes. No closing thoughts anywhere else. So everyone stay Stormcast strong and happy hobbying, and Daughters of Cain are better than KO.
Oh.